I'm going to talk about Hollywood Drift at Universal Studios Hollywood, which is about to open. I actually got to experience the soft opening, which was fantastic. So I got to ride early, and I think I got enough of an experience to try and give you an idea of what to expect. And what to expect, let's be honest, I'm going to come out of the gate and say, yes, it's an incredible roller coaster. This is a great addition to the lineup, not only Universal Studios Hollywood, but in SoCal as a whole. So be excited for it. But also be wary, because I do have some nitpicks. I don't think the coaster is perfect. I think there are some small issues that kind of detracted from being one of the greatest coasters ever made, which is, a pretty high bar to hit anyway. So let me go ahead and explain this coaster for those of you that somehow might not know. This is a controlled spinning roller coaster, so it's like a standard roller coaster car, except these cars spin. And this coaster is rather intense. So you're going to be spinning through 3 inversions, 2 of corkscrews, one of them being a really tall heartline roll thing, which I don't even know the exact height of. So I'm going to guess somewhere around, like, if you're going from bottom to top of it, probably around 150 feet. I don't know for sure, though. And also, this ride has a top speed of 72 miles per hour, which is done on a launch right before that heartline roll. And that, if you're paying attention to statistics, is the fastest roller coaster Universal Studios has ever made. Not roller coaster even, just ride in general. This is the fastest one. They want to really live up to that Fast and Furious name. And I will say they live up to the fast name. This ride isn't that furious, though. So that is where my main gripe comes from. This is actually not as intense as it looks. This, like I said, kind of has a modern roller coaster design, like VelociCoaster. And you'll notice a lot of modern roller coasters nowadays, they have a less intense first half to try and whet your appetite. Like, it's still very good, but they save the really intense stuff for the second half now. Like, also usually after another larger and faster launch. VelociCoaster does this, Stardust Racers does this. Basically, any modern, big name roller coaster kind of does this now, because the pacing and layout doing it like that is really cool, because if you have a killer first half, it only gets better from there. So this coaster tries to do that, but I don't think it quite does it, because this first half is a little lackluster, okay? It's just 3 small dips, which the train kind of turns with. So that's my one main already issue is, because they're trying to make the cars drift, the idea of turning into the turn, it actually takes away some of the G-forces, some of those laterals, which I would have loved to have felt. They're trying to make this more accessible. They're not trying to go, crazy with it. They're trying to still make it a very smooth and comfortable experience. And I'm assuming it's for a wider audience. They don't want to make this so intense that a lot of people won't be able to ride it, because let's be honest, Universal Studios, it's a very limited lineup in Hollywood, and I really don't think they want to scare away everyone, So I felt that with the first half, and the first half continues on in a rather slow-ish fashion, and you don't really get anything really whoa until the first corkscrew, which has an excellent floater airtime in it. It has fantastic floating in it, and if you're in the first and third cars, you'll also do the 360 spin through it, which is really cool. The way you kind of spin and are able to see the other cars that aren't spinning is such a cool experience. But yeah, that's the first time you actually feel something really cool. But I will say, after that, you hit a brake run, you kind of dive a little bit, and then your car goes backwards, and then you launch. You actually have a launch. That point on is where the ride gets pretty cool, because then after that, it shoots you into a sort of a Melman, where you kind of look towards the ground because you're spinning, and then you kind of look towards the ground and come down the Melman normal, straight again. And that is such a cool element that you'll not find anywhere else on Earth right now, probably until the Orlando version opens. And then you hit the 72 miles per hour. Then you hit the giant heartline roll, which, by the way, if you're in the second and fourth car, that's where you 360, and that is a way cooler 360. I personally did not get to experience the second or fourth car, so I don't quite know how that feels yet, but I know if the first corkscrew felt like that in my 360 in the first and third cars, that giant Heartline Roll 360 is going to be fantastic. And that is high in the air, has excellent floater time, and it's above the line. So that, like, if you're looking up, which you're technically looking to the ground, you just see all these people looking up at you. And it's really such a cool moment. And that's followed by another Melman before hitting my favorite part of the ride, which is going to be the, like, unsung hero of this ride it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. That last corkscrew in the brake run is where all the forces finally hit you, because it is a snappy corkscrew. And I think I absolutely love that. That is, like I've said before in other videos, that's like the Mosasaurus roll of this ride. That's the closest it'll get to, like, VelociCoaster, but it's not as intense as that. It's not as intense as the Mosasaurus, but it's still, like, a really cool part of the ride and an excellent, like, kick right to the end of the ride. So I will add a little caveat, because I've been talking already about the different experiences in different cars. That actually changes this ride drastically. See, these cars are heavy. They're really heavy. So, you know how if you ride a normal roller coaster, the back end tends to have more of the ejector airtime and stuff like that, and the front end tends to have a better view. And sometimes if you're riding a pretty chaotic coaster, like, sometimes the front row gets to get thrown into some elements faster, which results in some extra forces. This coaster kind of doesn't share the same DNA as that idea for other roller coasters. The front row, which I got to ride, the front row is, I think, going to be the worst spot in this whole ride, because, like I said, the first half lollygags, you don't really feel much in the front row. It's not that intense. It's pretty tame, actually. And because all the cars rotate constantly, like, you're not getting a better view than anyone else anymore. You'll maybe get a better view for, like, the first 15 seconds of the ride, but after that, everyone's kind of spinning, and no matter where you are in the train, you're going to get a really good view, especially on those Amelmans where you're looking down at the ground. So the front row doesn't really net you a better experience here, so just don't wait for it. Don't wait for the front row. In fact, all the best seats are probably in the back, which is, I've been verifying that with other people that have ridden this. Everyone's saying Supra, the fourth car, is the best car, and I believe it. That has the 360 through the giant Heartline roll, and it's at the back of the train. Because of how heavy these cars are, and they are heavy, like, once the first car goes down, the train's already rolling. That momentum has already built. So I don't know how the second car is like, but when I rode it in the third car, like, this, like, the ejector is so much stronger than the first car. Like, it's ridiculous how much more negative G's get added into the mix just 2 cars back. So with that, because of how heavy these cars are, this layout is not nimble, which is why I'm saying don't compare this to VelociCoaster. This layout is, like, big. Like, the movements are big, because, you know, the heavier something is, the more space you kind of need to move. So, in addition to that, because these cars are spinning, these cars will break. Like, they will break, okay? They'll stop spinning, and they'll get stuck in one position. And because of that, and I'm assuming they built this with that in mind, because if a car breaks in a compromising position, whether it be backwards, sideways, maybe diagonal, the coaster still needs to be safe, right? So they can't be doing crazy maneuvers that would make being in that position an unsafe position, hence sweeping, not that much G-forces. Like, it's pretty light, and it's because of, I assume, safety issues in that regard. So another caveat here. My car broke. My third car, on my trip when I'm in the third car, it broke. Halfway through that Heartline roll, which I'm supposed to just kind of drift through, like, my car stopped sideways. So I got to ride the rest of the ride like this, you know? I was like, this is, like, if you're the front of the car, I was riding it like this. I was like, oh, okay. And I got excited. I got pumped, because that means that I'm going to feel stuff that isn't, you know, supposed to be necessarily felt by this ride. And that became apparent when I hit that last corkscrew into the brake run, because I wasn't going through normal anymore. You're just supposed to go through straight and with a little bit of a drift. I was going in sideways, which means that instead of going through like this and, like, kind of rolling over, I was sideways and I was flipping backwards. And that was the coolest... That was the coolest moment for me. When I got to go through that, it's almost like I just did a really fast backflip. You know what I mean? It felt really, really cool. I was genuinely kind of scared going to that corkscrew when I made that connection of what was about to happen to me. So I really wish that was an option. See, that's why I'm saying I know this ride could be much more intense using that spin, but I know they dialed it back. I know they dialed it back because of the things I've been talking about. I feel like this might just be a prototype for Orlando's version. Like, this is the proof of concept. It feels like the accelerator to Top Thrill Dragster. Accelerator came first so Top Thrill could run. And also it has that same vibe of like Revenge of the Mummy, when the one in Hollywood is kind of just this little thing, when Orlando's is fully fleshed out. That's something I feel like is happening here again. And so even though this ride is really good, it's going to live in the shadow of Orlando's. As soon as Orlando's opens, this is going to be like the little brother ride. You know, maybe I'm just an adrenaline junkie. Maybe I'm just had high expectations. Maybe I just want the craziest ride that'll kill me. And if I don't get, you know, massively traumatized by it, I don't think it's that good. Maybe it's me. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I totally understand that. But that is my opinion on it. So now that I've said that, I do want to add a couple things really fast. If you wait in general admission, it's going to be a miserable wait. Okay, like they're going to run virtual queue for this at first. I know they are, but I'm pretty sure even if you end up getting virtual queue and you know, redeem it, you're still going to be waiting in a pretty hefty line. And that line is just switchbacks, baby. It's nothing but switchbacks. Nothing really entertaining there. No real theming. You get to see the coaster go around, but like it looks miserable. There's some QR codes to scan. There's some like fake cars to look at, a fake garage set. It's not going to be enough to entertain you for the probably 2 hours you're going to be waiting in those switchbacks. It's going to be a bit brutal. I want you to be aware of that. And at the end of those switchbacks is going to be a locker system that is award-winning. Yes, this has those lockers that you scan your ticket, you put your stuff in, you close it. When you get off the ride later, you're on the other side of the locker and get to take your stuff out without having to deal with the locker room hassle. Great locker system. Make sure you put everything in it, though, because they got metal detectors and they will not let you take anything onto this ride. So make sure you take advantage of it like that. Just be aware of those things. The ride is absolutely fantastic. It's definitely worth the ride. Just also kind of temper your expectations a little bit, and definitely aim for the Supra. Aim for the Supra and pray that your car is gonna break down, because dang, dude, way more fun that way. I want this thing to be sideways the whole dang time. I think that would make it one of the best rides in the area. That'll do it. But as is, it is just more of an accessible, intense roller coaster that is gonna do very well. Let's be honest. This thing's gonna blow open those gates. Let's just see how Florida's matches up, and let's see kind of how, you know, this thing operates in the long run. I'm excited to see what happens from here on out. I love the ride. I just, you know, I wish it just kept spinning the whole time. You know those like videos of that lady that just like spins the whole time on that flat ride? I want that on this. Make one of the cars do that. I want to be in that seat. That is all. Hollywood Drift. Go ride it.